Hey everybody, it's Benny One, and I'm back at you with another movie review, everybody, and I'm gonna review Minions: The Rise of Gru, a prequel movie to the Despicable Me movies and a sequel movie to the Minions movie, everybody. And just to give you guys a little backstory about me and the Despicable Me movies and the Minion movie, I have always enjoyed this movie franchise with Illumination, animation, all that stuff. I've enjoyed the Despicable Me movies. The first two were, I think, really good animated movies, and then the third one, it was okay, but you could tell that it was starting to kind of, it was starting to age a little bit, I guess. And then the Minions movie came out, and my son loved the Minions movie because he was like two, I think three when that movie came out. I'm pretty sure he was like two or three. Oh my God. Did he ever watch that movie on loop and loop and loop and loop? And I enjoyed the first Minions movie. I actually thought it was pretty funny because I like the Minions. Honestly, they're one of my favorite things with the Despicable Me movies, of course. They're not the main character, and they were made the main character of that Minions movie, which I think affected that movie as a whole when it came to the story, because the Minions are not good. They're not the type of characters that you make the main character in the movie about. I think they're hilarious, though. That's for sure. So yes, we decided to watch this a couple nights ago, and my son obviously had a freaking blast. He's 6 now. He loved the movie. We even were laughing because there's adult humor in this. It was good. So, let's dive into Minions: The Rise of Gru, everybody. This movie was directed by Kyle Balda or whatever. Balda. I can't pronounce his name, obviously. Steve Carell is back as Gru because we get introduced. This picks up where the Minions movie left off, where Gru shows up at the end and steals the crown, and the Minions end up running after him after he takes off because they're like, big boss, new boss. Like they finally found someone. And we get to see how the Minions first meet Gru. And then this movie picks up probably a couple months later, possibly, and because they don't really say exactly, but I imagine it's a few months later, and they're standing outside of his window. They kind of show how he eventually brings them into the house and everything, and they were like using the hose to make it look like it was rain, and they were all out there in the rain like shivering and shit. So that's what I love about the Minions. They're just funny little dudes. And yeah, Steve Carell is back as Gru, and obviously they do something to his voice to make him sound young, but Steve Carell is just as good as he's always been in any of these other movies. And bringing Gru into this movie actually helped the story out. I will say that for sure. Jean-Claude Van Damme is in this movie. He plays Jean-Claude. So, and then Taraji Henson plays Bella Bottom. She's like the leader of this evil, like, sinister villain type thing. They call him, I think they call him I don't think they call him the Sinister Six because that would be copyright shit with Marvel, but they're a group of 6 villains. They're evil. This movie takes place in the 70s. So Julie Andrews is back as Marlena Gru. She plays the younger version of Gru's mom. We get to see her in this movie, which is really cool. Michelle Yeoh, everybody, plays Master Chow. There's a little side plot mission that the Minions go on in this movie, and they learn Kung Fu from her. So, of course, Michelle Yeoh is going to be in your movie. Even if it's an animated movie, she's going to teach and do some Kung Fu in it. So that part of the story, I was kind of like, okay. I mean, I get it, I guess. It didn't seem like it fit in with the story, to tell you the truth. I was kind of like, this feels a little out of place, but it's an animated movie. So Russell Brand is back, everybody, as Dr. Nefario, a younger version. They show how him and Gru first meet and everything, and eventually by the time the movie ends, Gru is asking him to come and make things for him, because Gru gets his first like actual gadget from him when he goes to this record label store, which is the like base hideout for this Sinister Six evil group. I know they're not called the Sinister Six in the movie. I forgot what they're called. I'm sorry. So I'm calling them the goddamn Sinister Six. But yeah, he gives him his first gadget, and it's this like goo gun thing that shoots the goo out and stuff, and he can grab shit with it. So he's like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. So little Gru's like, you want to come work for me? Like, towards the end of the movie, and he's like, hell no, but he convinces him by the end of the movie. So, and then Pierre Coffin is the guy that does the voice of the Minions. Awesome. Just as good as he was in all the other Minion movies. Dolph Lundgren is in this movie as Svengeance, I think. Alan Arkin plays Wild Knuckles. And he is a key to the story in this movie because he kind of gets the boot from the Sinister Six group, and Gru's favorite supervillain, his idol that he looks up to, his hero, I guess you could call him, but he's a villain, is this Wild Knuckles character played by Alan Arkin. And that part of the story is the best thing about this movie, is that relationship where in the Despicable Me movies you have Gru with these little kids that get introduced into his life. So you have that relationship of like the fatherly figure and these little girls. And then in the Minions movie, that was totally not even there. Like, it was just the Minions. So, and then in this one, you have Gru as the child who's looking up to this fatherly idol figure, Wild Knuckles. So they kind of bring that back into this movie, and it really helps out the story of this Minions movie. It really, really does. Because the Minions are cool. They're really cool, but they're not the type of character that should be the main focus and the main part of the movie. Like, they're not main leading characters. They're hilarious, don't get me wrong, and I think what makes the Minions hilarious and funny to watch is that they're almost in a way like a new iteration of sorts of the classic Looney Tunes, the slapstick animated family friendly comedy with characters that are doing outrageous things. They seem like the Minions are nuts. They are completely insane. Like, everything they do is just nuts and over the top, outlandish. It reminds me a lot of classic Looney Tunes, and I love the Minions, and they do some crazy shit in this movie, of course, like as they always do. So yeah, they're funny. I think the story is better in this movie than the first Minions movie because Gru is back in this. Gru he actually doesn't get as much screen time as I thought he was going to, but I think it was pretty equal and leveled out. I thought they did a good job with it, honestly, because at one point I was like, well, this is really just feeling like a Despicable Me movie in the beginning, but then Gru gets captured, and then it's all Minions focused again, which not totally, but for the most part until the very end. When they go get Gru, they rescue him. And then they end up having this big fight, which at the end of the movie, I was kind of taken out of the movie when this happened. This Sinister Six evil group, they turn into like these crazy animals, and they get huge. Like, Bella Bottom turns into this big ass dragon thing. I was kind of got taken out of it a little bit. And I mean, it was okay. It was all right. But I just was like, oh, okay, wow, we're like really going for it here, aren't we? So, but you know what? It's a family animated Minions Despicable Me movie. That's what it is. If you have kids, this is a perfect movie to have your kids watch. The Minions are hilarious. Like, my son was jacked to watch this. Me and my wife were laughing. There's adult humor in it. There's crude, fun, kid-friendly humor in it. It's a fun family movie. And I always think it's funny when people go to these animated movies and they just nitpick the shit out of these kind of movies. And it's an animated movie that's driven towards kids. That's what these movies are for, is for kids that love the Minions and think they're hilarious because they're absolutely batshit nuts and they do crazy things. Yes, having Gru back in this movie helps the story out vastly compared to the first Minions, but these movies are made for kids. So I always think it's really funny when critics, or whatever you want to call them, because I don't say I'm a movie critic. I'm not. I'm just a guy that decided to get on YouTube and talk about movies on my YouTube channel. I don't edit my videos crazy and try to seem all professional. I'm just a guy talking about movies because I like talking about movies. And I think it's funny when people judge these kind of movies so hardcore. It's an animated movie made for kids. Like, come on. I just think it's funny. So, and I'm not just talking about this movie or the first Minions movie, just any animated movie that's literally designed to aim at children. And I guess I just I might view things a little differently because I am a father and I have a kid who loves this kind of shit. So yeah, guys, I went on a little rant there. Hello. So I'm going to give Minions: The Rise of Gru. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was fun. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I think the story is stronger than the first Minions. The Minions are great. It's awesome seeing young Gru and showing some growth and how he would eventually turn into the version of him in Despicable Me, and the early beginnings of like his lair down in the basement of the house. It's just cool to see all that stuff. So a 7 out of 10, everybody, for Minions: The Rise of Gru. I hope you guys enjoyed that review. I thank you for watching, and I'll be catching you on the tube later because I have spoken.